Regardless of whether a researcher uses random or non-random sampling, the researcher's goal is to get something called a representative sample. A representative sample is a sample that has the same mixture as the population it came from. A representative sample is basically a mini version of the entire population, or a shrunken down version of the entire population. In this diagram, this sample is perfectly representative of the population it came from. The population is 1/3 of each shape, and the sample is also 1/3 of each shape. Now, why is it important for a researcher to have a representative sample? A representative sample provides accurate information about the population it came from and leads to accurate conclusions about the population as a whole. No sample is ever perfectly representative, but a researcher will want to have a sample that's as representative as possible. That's because the more representative the sample is, the more accurate the conclusions about the population will be. Now, how does a researcher get a highly representative sample? The most dependable way to get a highly representative sample is by using random sampling. When a researcher uses random sampling, the researcher is giving all members of the population an equal chance of being selected, which means that the researcher is likely to capture a balanced mixture of population members in the sample, especially if the sample size is large. If a researcher uses non-random sampling, the researcher might get a representative sample, but the representativeness of the sample is a judgment call the researcher will have to make. When a sample is selected non-randomly, the representativeness of the sample will be affected by any bias that the researcher had while selecting people to be in the sample.